Hello, I'm Anthony David Hobbs, and this is my review of Battlestar Galactica, and we're now on the gun on Ice Planet Zero, Part 2. Okay, yeah. And this is, here we have the Galactica, yeah. So the story starts off just where we left off. The Battlestar Galactica is on the brink of being shot up by a laser cannon. In a matter of hours, it'll be in range. But it can't go back, because there's a whole army of Cylon raiders that way. So the plan is they send an expedition to destroy the weapon on the ice mountain thing. And, oh yeah, we have a new character we haven't seen before in this one. The Cylon Commander, who looks exactly the same as a Cylon Centurion. The same outline and everything. Two differences though. He's gold. The Cylon leader, Cylon Commander, is gold. And he has a deeper electronic voice, yeah. And when the Father Creator on the planet isn't pleased with something that the Cylons are doing, he says, right, I'll take this up with your leader. So by telephone or by video phone, he talks to the Cylon leader, who's gold, yeah. I suppose because gold is more valuable than silver, so it represents his authority, yeah. And, okay, so the Father Creator has made all these clones. There's clones of Britt Ekland and a man with a big bushy beard, yeah. Except, no, they're not... They just have loads of actors with bushy beards basically down there. Yeah, they don't look identical at all. But you just don't see their faces up close. So at first glance, you think they all look the same. And Britt Ekland, they just have lots of blonde women about the same height as Britt Ekland in the background, yeah. So, but nowadays, of course, with modern CGI, you can do that. You can make identical copies of the same person on the screen, yeah, like that. But they didn't have that technology then, so they just had to have a load of people that have different faces just wearing the same clothes, so they seem to be clones, yeah. Oh yeah, and the clones are breeding. They're supposed to be sterile, yeah. And they're supposed to, well, they were created to do, well, manual labour, slave work, yeah. Anyway, we're underground, where you're less cold, and Apollo has the privilege of meeting the Father Creator, the one that designed and made all these clones in the first place. And he goes up to him and he says, I'm Apollo, the captain from the Battlestar Galactica. And the Father Creator, the scientist, says, no, I'm not interested in people from the Galactica. That is a warship. I'm not interested in war or violence in any form. You have a funny way of showing it, says Apollo, because, you know, that weapon you've got on the ice mountain. And the scientist says, no, that's not a weapon. That's like a space antenna. It sends messages from long distances, millions of miles away. And Apollo's like, well, maybe that's what it was originally created for, but no, it's shooting. It's destroyed several of my colonial vipers, you know, yeah. And it must be destroyed, otherwise a whole race will become extinct. And Father Creator is reluctant to help at first, and he goes, I've got to look after all my clones here, and I've got all this scientific work here to do. And Apollo says, help my people. You must help. If not for me, then help for your clones. They are breeding. And in a sense, they're all your children, yeah, in a manner of speaking, yeah. So he's reluctant at first, but the Father Creator agrees to help them. Oh yeah, and Wolf, the demolitions expert, abandons them. He scarpers. It never specifies if he comes back or not. And that's a shame because he was the demolitions man. But the Father Creator, he shows Apollo blueprints of the weapon so that he knows precisely where to strategically put all the bombs to ensure it's definitely destroyed, yeah. Now, while this is going on, Boltar has ordered, yeah, there's a Cylon raider here, yeah. Yes, real McCoy, genuine raider. And he sends these raiders, a whole fleet of them, to attack the Galactica, yeah. And then Lucifer, who doesn't always see eye to eye with Boltar, but he does obey him, yeah. He says, what's the next order? And Boltar says, I want you to send a whole fleet of Cylon raiders to attack the Galactica. But it's a very long journey, but it's to create the illusion that we're closer than we actually are. And Lucifer says, well, that's suicide. If they go that far, they won't have enough fuel to get back. And Boltar says, well, they're machines. What do I care if they never get back or not, you know? So we've got to look at the big picture, this great victory, yeah. Cylons are machines. If those pilots were human, I'd give the same order. Yes, I believe you would, says Lucifer. Well, by your command. Yeah, okay. And, okay, back on the snow planet, yes, they've got to get on with the mission. One of them blows himself up and destroys a load of Cylons at the same time, yeah. And so, yes, the stakes are high. Yes, they've got to get this job done in a matter of hours. It will be too late. Now, Apollo, and I think he's called Croft, the one that's married to the medical expert, there's an avalanche because the noise of that, the laser cannon, the vibrations make a load of snow fall down. Oh, yeah, and the noise it makes, every time it fires a shot, there's these generators that make this noise. And I thought, where have I heard that noise before? I remember in 1938, Flash Gordon's trip to Mars. That's the same noise the spaceships make when they go off. So all these modern, up-to-date sound effects, and yet they use a sound effect that was about 40 years old. Well, as long as it sounds good, yeah. Anyway, Apollo and one of the criminals, called Croft, an avalanche falls down. Apollo manages to get him out of the way just in the nick of time. If he hadn't done that, he would have been knocked unconscious. He'd be out cold. Oh, out cold, yes, good pun that, cold, because it's a cold planet, yeah. Anyway, the character is on an ice planet. No, it's not. It's not a nice planet. It's a horrible planet. Nice planet, ice planet. They're on an ice planet, yeah. Anyway, they're on a snow planet, and, well, secretly, Croft's wife speaks to him. She's considering getting back to him again, and says, why don't we just betray all the colonial warriors, get the heck out of here, just steal a Cylon ship, and get out of here. We'll go to another planet like Styros. We'll go to another planet where we can start up a new life. How can they go to another planet? I thought these were totally uncharted planets where no one's ever been before. How do they know where to find them? Well, maybe uncharted to the Galactica, but not uncharted to the criminals. Yes, they know more than what they're letting on. Anyway, then afterwards, they're getting closer and closer to the mountain with the laser cannon. And one of the criminals pulls a gun on Apollo. He's threatening him and says, right, we're getting out of here. You can do what you want. And Apollo says, well, I need your help to do this demolition job. He goes, well, that's not our problem. We don't care if the Galactica is destroyed as long as we can get away. And then Apollo says, well, the Galactica can provide protection. If the Galactica is destroyed, the Cylons, they want to destroy every single human in existence. They'll be after you next. Well, don't worry about us. We'll manage to get away. No, without the Galactica's help, you're finished. And the medical lady says, I don't think you seem to understand who is finished here, Captain. We genuinely don't care about you lot. As long as we get away, that's all that counts. Then Croft, he points the laser gun, well, it is his fellow criminals now, and then says, we must save the Galactica. Well, what about our escape plan? What about our freedom? And Croft says, look, I want my freedom, of course, but not at the cost of destroying the Galactica. Not at the cost of an entire civilization being destroyed. So no, he won't allow that. That's going too far. And of course, he's like the code of warriors and everything. He has a respect for colonial warriors because of their effort to destroy the Cylons. And yeah, he has some conscience. There's some good left in him. Yeah, if you promise to do a job, you must do it. Yeah, so he won't let them become extinct. The criminals are reluctant to help. But then they think, we're all going to die of cold if we stay much longer, so we may as well help them, yeah. So they secretly go through like these air vent things, manage to get there. Oh yeah, and we learn a bit more about their jargon. They don't have minutes, they have centoms. And a centom, technically that's not 60 seconds, it's 100 seconds. Or 100 microns, yeah, okay. So they strategically plant the bombs here, there and everywhere, yeah. And while this is going on, the laser cannon is firing random shots. It doesn't actually hit the Galactica. It's not in range yet, but hitting about a dozen of the ships that are part of the fleet, yeah. Oh, wait, before any of this happens, Starbuck, although it's not his orders, he saves Kree, the cadet. He saves him in a torture chamber from being frozen to death, so he saves him. And yes, they're cutting it very fine. The Galactica is on the brink of being in firing range. They don't have a second to spare. No, not 1 second. And finally, literally the last half second, it's destroyed. It's blown to bits, yeah. And the Galactica gets past safely. Now, I think how did they get off the planet when their shuttle is destroyed? Well, although it's pretty obvious that the Galactica must have sent a shuttle down, well, because they've got the time. They're safe now. But no, they don't show it on screen. They just sort of imply it, yeah. And naturally enough, Boltar is infuriated at this. With all our Cylon patrols and all those fleets of Cylon raiders, how could this have gone wrong? How? And Lucifer says, but the strategy was yours. which is a polite way of saying you've got no one to blame but yourself. Yeah. Oh yeah, and another subplot. Yes, not a lot of subplots in this story. Minutes before the cannon is destroyed, the clones, they think, well, why should we help them destroy that weapon? Because the Cylons will take their anger out on us if we do that. But Father Creator says, that may be so, but we cannot allow the Galacticans to become extinct. No, they don't deserve that. No, we've got to help them if we can. In other words, look at the big picture. Help your fellow people. And Apollo thanks them, and after the weapon's destroyed, he says, but how will you survive? What if the Cylons do want revenge on you? And Father Creator simply says, I haven't shown them everything. I haven't shown the Cylons everything I've created. So maybe he's got weapons or a strategic plan to get away. I don't know. Doesn't specify that bit. And then Starbuck, he kisses 3 of the Briteclans goodbye. And it's like 3 copies of the same beautiful woman. Can you imagine the possibilities? Well, that's not science fiction. No. You can get twins and triplets and quadruplets in real life, yeah. So, yes, happy ending. That they get back on board the Galactica, safely away. And, I suppose I should mention it. This episode does owe a lot to the Guns of Navarone. Yes, the idea of destroying a weapon there. So, yes, the Dirty Dozen, Guns of Navarone, put those 2 stories together and you've got one epic story there. Too much is happening for one episode, so that's why they made it a 2-parter, yeah. And, we learn that, the Galacticans will go to any lengths to get their freedom, yes, and Bolt are determined to earn the Imperious leaders' respect. That's why it would have been an amazing victory if he'd have succeeded, yeah. And, the narration at the beginning of each episode, done by Patrick McNee. The reason they do that is because Star Trek had a spectacular narration at the beginning of each episode, so they thought we need something like that, yes. There are those that believe that somewhere out there, life began out there, and they may have been the forefathers, the Egyptians or the Mayans, yeah. Fighting to survive beyond the heavens, yeah. So I was quite satisfied, good ending and everything, and the introduction of the golden Cylon leader. Do we see him in any more episodes? Well, anyway, they made a toy of him, yeah, so he's a big deal, yeah. Okay, thank you for watching. I'm Anthony Hobbs, and I'm never bored.